What's up? It's Jarvis here from Obscure Film Club. And over the past few months, and I've certainly done this on this channel, recently here in Canada we had an election. We elected not a fascist, which is nice for a change. Maybe our neighbors down south could take a lesson. But I think the biggest thing that we've really felt, and especially actually since the South has elected a fascist, I think a lot of Canadians have taken a lot more. I think we were really complacent with our culture. We know we have a lot of rich culture. We've produced a lot of great art and music and films and tons of awesome things that have happened here in Canada. And I think we're really losing this sense of pride, and I think we're always kind of looked at, and I think especially the US has really gone hard in on us about that. We have kind of borrowed a lot from the US. And so for me, I think to me it's always great to see some great Canadian content and Canadian artists just making great films. And today I want to talk about Scott Pilgrim versus the World. So I know this film has always been infamous amongst like huge movie busts. Basically, this film did not perform well at all in theaters, making well under its budget and kind of always looking like a flop, but always having really high critical praise to it. And I remember a number of years ago, this film was on Netflix, and I remember putting it on. I don't remember even watching the whole thing and not really getting it. I think part of that was that at that time when I was watching movies, my mom was really restrictive on the kind of movies I could watch. We were one time watching Now You Could See Me, and she said it was getting too much and we had to turn it off. Now You Can See Me, a PG-13 crappy-ass magic movie. So at the time, I was having to sneak a lot of stuff, either watching it on a tablet or on a laptop or my phone. So I think there are a lot of these movies that I did try to watch, I did try to experience. I kind of feel like I got in a cheapened version of it just because I'm not experiencing the whole thing. But now I live on my own, I work hard. And I have my own like kind of modest little theater set up with a projector and everything like that. And since then, it's been really nice to go back to a lot of these films that I watched at a younger age, but didn't really get much for and didn't really think about it much. So I recently found this Blu-ray out in the wild, and I thought, man, it's been a while since I last watched that movie. Why not put it on? I know it still gets a lot of critical praise, and let me just say, this movie is fucking awesome. For one, this was directed by Edgar Wright. He did, I think it's called the Cornelio trilogy, Shaun of the Dead, I can't remember the action movie, and At World's End. What was the action movie called again? Oh my god. Ugh, I can't remember the action movie parody one. That's like my favorite too. I feel bad. Oh, it's like at the top of my tongue. It's probably somewhere. I'll put it here. Fuck. But he is a very fascinating director. He came out of Britain. He has a lot of really great movies that he's made with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. And this was really his first stepping out into kind of just doing a Hollywood adaptation. But obviously something to me that was really in his wheelhouse. But he was no longer with the kind of crew that he seemingly came up in the movie industry with. And maybe that was part of the reason why this one didn't succeed. I know Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are really big over in the UK, but they also did really good in the US too. So maybe not having those people in this movie maybe kind of just said a lot of people didn't know who he was and didn't know enough about him. But this was, like, in my opinion, the perfect project for him. This film is, to me, one of the best adaptations of a book ever. Perfectly matches the energy, the comedy of the writing. And for me, the thing I really did get a lot of appreciation for was just how much Canada was in this film. And not in a shitty sense. I'm someone who's very critical. I know there's those like the common Canadian stereotypes. Maple syrup. I hate that shit. To me, it's the most surface level crap. It's not interesting. Everyone has done it. To me, after Bob and Doug McKenzie, there is absolutely no reason to continue to do the Hoser accent. It's really fucking tired out, and I'm so glad that they didn't fall into this. They set this film in Toronto, which the author is from. I believe it said he grew up in London, which is just like it's a part of the GTA. And so I think it really represents Toronto well. It doesn't try this ham-fisted Canadian culture. Let me just throw it at you. It just did it in very subtle ways. But I guess I should get into the plot of this movie. And I think the plot is just very, very funny to me. So basically, Scott is this like slacker 22-year-old guy who's living in this basement apartment with a gay guy, sharing the same bed, but they are not together. And essentially, he just got out of a really bad breakup, and now he is going out with a 17-year-old who is still in high school. And it basically he basically just looks like this, like he's going nowhere. Like, everyone's asking, Scott, are you with a 17-year-old? Like, what are you doing, man? There's no reason to do that. You know, maybe I'm gonna try to throw in a Manhattan reference, but there's no point. Whatever. But essentially, he falls in love with this girl that he's seeing in these kind of weird dreams that he's having. She's like a alternative chick. Her name is Ramona Flowers, and she's iconically has always these different colored hair. And essentially, he shoots a shot. She gives him a chance, and now there's kind of a cryptic message that was left when she gave him her phone number. Essentially, that she has 7 evil exes that will battle out anime style, manga style fights for, I guess, her love or to have the title, because they're not, from what I remember, they didn't really seem like I want her back. They're just kind of like, fuck you, Scott, for dating my ex, which, you know, honestly. But I just want to say, like, this movie is, for me, in a lot of ways, I don't think I have ADHD. There's stuff that I'm adjacent to people with ADHD with, but to me, is something so great about just how quick this film is. This film does not really let you permeate. There isn't really any long shots from what I can remember. This is a very quick, and it works so well. Especially when I have the first 2 volumes. I'm still looking for the rest. I'm cheap as hell when it comes to buying media, so I can wait. I'm not going to spend whatever on the new cover price. But it's similar to these pages, where this pages, it just goes from scene to scene to scene. I really like those transitions from night to day. Like, it just was 2 seconds. You didn't have to spend all this time. And also, too, I thought the way that they pulled off CGI was exactly how you want to see CGI used in film. It doesn't try to make this shit doesn't make it try to look realistic. It matches the world that it's in, and it completely highlights all these scenes. It makes these scenes more colorful, more lifeful. There's so many little jokes where a character will get bopped in the head with something, and like a little text will pop up just like in a comic. And for me, one of my favorite Canadian references that I saw, and they didn't even make a deal of it. They didn't say, oh, loonies and toonies, eh? Loonies and toonies, eh? They didn't do that. They didn't do that because they're not fucking cheap. They're not trying to get those cheap, stupid laughs that are such surface-level stereotype Canadian. They subtly had, whenever he defeats one of these evil exes, essentially a bunch of coins fall. It's very similar. This movie is just like chock full of like video games, comic books, pop culture references, like all throughout, a lot on the nerdier side of stuff. But like they would all fall out, and they were all Canadian coins. I don't know. I thought that looked dope. I really like to see that. It was subtle. They didn't make a big deal of it. They just showed it in the shot, and I thought that was perfect. I also really want to talk about the casting here. The casting here is absolutely insane. Michael Cera, one of my favorite low-key actors. Obviously, I'm not going to pretend that I don't think he's ever put in an Oscar performance before or something worthy of tons of praise and anything like that. But he has been a really, really solid actor for many, many years, basically my whole life almost. And him as Scott Pilgrim is like a perfect casting. It is peanut butter and jelly, peanut butter and chocolate, peanut butter, you know, basically anything. But they work so well, and I think I was so glad that they captured it at this time, because even though he has kind of looked the same over the years, but you know he's an older guy now. You know he's not this young 20-year-old, very pale face, very soft-spoken, awkward, but it works so friggin' well in this movie. And beyond that, there is an insane cast of actors. You have Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Ramona Flowers. I thought she did an excellent job. It worked so well in this movie. Her energy, the way that she looked, everything was perfect here. Aubrey Plaza, who I could have taken a whole movie of her working at that record store, judging everyone's taste and like hating on everyone. That would, to me, I would love that shit. I know sadly she's kind of had a very tough time in life now, so I really hope she gets back to where she is. I understand it's not an easy situation that she's in right now, but she is also one of those gems of the 2010s breakout. Next, probably my favorite character in the whole movie, Kieran Culkin. He's like continuing to show us that he's a lot better than his brother. Even though I love his brother, I'm not someone who's like, oh, Home Alone, Home Alone, Home Alone. I know he's done a lot more stuff, and I actually really have liked a lot of his internet content that he's done. He does that podcast, goes on a lot more interesting YouTuber stuff. Like, he doesn't do the basic crap, go on Logan Paul or go on those stupid shit. He actually finds communities that of stuff that he's interested in and actually wants to talk about, and I always find that really cool about him. But his brother does a great job in this movie. His character is very out there in some ways. He lives with a straight guy. They sleep in the same bed together in a basement apartment in Toronto. They basically seem like it's a couple. And he's always trying to get... he somehow wins over this straight guy who's on a date with actually Anna Kendrick, who was in here right before like her big breakthrough with Pitch Perfect. Chris Evans is in here, and he's amazing. Every scene that Chris Evans is in was just so fucking funny. It was a really great character, really funny, so many quotable lines. It's actually hilarious. Jason Schwartzman. This might be my favorite Jason Schwartzman since Rushmore. I don't know, I kind of always felt like he just peaked with Rushmore at like whatever he was, 17, 18. But yeah, this movie is super impressive. This cast is kind of like all those people that like end up basically owning the 2010s or becoming way more successful after this movie. So it's really unique to see all these people in this movie. I kind of also, this is another random pick for a movie, 10 Years. I don't know if anyone has ever saw that movie, but it's also like one of the most impressive casting. Basically getting all these big A-list stars now before they're still at that breaking point. And finally, the last thing I want to talk about, the aspect I think worked so fucking well was definitely the music. So in the movie, the characters, Scott Pilgrim is in a band called Sex Bomb, and essentially their B plot or their second goal is basically that they're joining in all these Battle of the Bands, and essentially from the Battle of the Bands, it's how all these like ex-boyfriends, and there is that one ex-girlfriend that does show up. But these scenes are excellent, especially what I'm saying with like the CGI and the effects and the editing. It like works so well. It gives these moments such good energy. There's so much more happening than just them playing music and maybe some lighting effects. They're actually really bringing an energy to this, and some of these songs are excellent. I really have always loved Black Sheep. I always thought that was a good song. I know it's kind of now feels a bit overplayed. I think it's kind of taken over like Instagram and TikTok songs, but I think I've always really enjoyed that song, especially that sequence. And just overall, this is just such a fun film that really, to me, represents Canada well. It really has a great kind of time period that it was set in, that I think Hollywood doesn't really seem to be wanting to take these risks anymore. They don't really want to pander maybe to more niche communities. They just want to make these just garbage blockbusters, and it's really sad. It's sad when movies like this fail, but at the end of the day, you can still appreciate them, still enjoy them for what they are. And overall, I'm going to give this film a 95 out of 100. This is an excellent film. Highly recommend it to everyone. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one.